Hi everyone, welcome to the Core Script. And today, you guess our guest. Today we have the Anika. We recently completed BTech and joined as a software developer at Dell. So in today's video, we will talk about the whole eligibility criteria and the process of the joining a Dell, the whole complete the test round, interview round, and we will discuss some of the questions that were asked in interview round in details. So hi Anika, welcome to our channel. And first of all, very thank you so much to taking your precious time to come here. And and congratulations to your achievement.
Thank you so much, Manoj. It's a pleasure being here and helping people out so that they can also pursue their dream job. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So without delays, let us start our discussion. So how did you get the chance to interview with that Dell?
Okay, so let me just get back to 1.5 years from now, which was in 2020. So I was in my final year and the placement season just started, right? So, and the COVID also hit just then. So I was very scared, right? That am I going to get into any company? Why? How should I start preparing? And, all of these questions like a fresher has. I had all of them. I was not sure which way to go, right? And because of the pandemic, I was even, more terrified that, okay, what should I do? Now the interviews are not going to be face-to-face. They're going to be virtual maybe. And that time it was not sure also that is it going to be virtual or is it not going to happen at all? So yeah, it was a very difficult situation for me. But then thanks to my college, we started having companies. I sat for the very first company that was Dell Technology. So I gave my interview there and I got in. It was very simple. The interview process was easy. They were just talking about, it was more of an HR interview. They were just talking about normal things and I got in there. Then I was in a very satisfaction zone that, okay, I got the job. I am done. But you know what? LinkedIn is a place where if you come, you always have this thing in your head and your mind that, okay, I'm lagging behind. So that, that kept on pinching me that I said, I can do better. So then I again started sitting for companies and then I got into some other company as well. And Dell was so how I got into Dell is a very weird story. So Dell came for a different role to my college. It came for pre-sales role. Okay. So I sat for that and eventually I made it till managerial round. Okay. So there were around 4-5 rounds. The first one was the written. Then we had the elevator pitch wherein you had to speak about something. They'll give you a random topic and you have to speak about it. And the third round was the technical round. Fourth one was managerial round. So when I got into my managerial round, there were 2 people. And when I started giving my introduction and they saw my resume, so they were like, Anika, your resume is very much inclined to the technical bit, right? Your resume talks about Python, your resume talks about machine learning. So why do you want to get into a pre-sales role? And trust me, I had no answer to it because, when you're in college, you don't have a mindset that I want to get into this and I don't want to get into that, right? You just go with the flow. So I had no answer. And so those 2 people, right, I really owe to them. They made me realize that, okay, software development is something that is for me, that I can get into. So they said, Anika, your profile is very good, but I don't think so it's good for this role. You can do much better in software development role. I said, okay. And then I got rejected. Okay. So I did not make to the next HR round. I was very sad. I was very disheartened. And, and they told me that, Anika, if there's some opportunity for software engineer, we'll get back to you. Which, most of the companies says we'll get back to you, but they never do. So I was, I was in my own impression that, okay, I'm never going to get another call from them. So let's just go with what I have in my hand. And I was satisfied. I was a bit unhappy, but then I was like, okay, let's deal with it. So few months passed by and it was November 2020 when I got a mail that, okay, your interview is scheduled for tomorrow for Dell Technologies. And I was like, okay, I was very scared because Dell Technology, software engineer, I had my different mindset that the parameters are going to be difficult. The parameters are going to be very high. Why will they take me? I don't have any skills of that sort, But then what happened was amazing. So I started with my technical interview the other day. And the interview went extremely good. Why it went good? Because it was not an interview. It was like a chat show, 2 people discussing technology. Like you and me are discussing this interview. It was just similar to that. So my interviewer, right, he was asking me questions and I was giving answers, right? But the amazing part was that, and what made Dell different from the other companies, that, once you give a wrong answer, right, to a question, people consider it as your negatives and, you get rejected. But with Dell, it was completely different. So I don't exactly remember the question, but I did not answer it correctly. So instead of marking it as my negatives, the interviewer, right, he discussed it with me, you know, he discussed it with me that, see, Anika, this is how it should be, you know, this should be the approach. And we had a good 20 minutes discussion on that. So that was something that hit me. And I said, then, you know, I had that click that, you know what, this is the right company, because people here don't judge you for your negatives. Rather, they, you know, convert your negatives into positives, right? So he and both of us had a very nice discussion on that topic, and it was something Java related topic. Okay. And Java and me are like two enemies. I never code in Java. I never ever use Java because I think it's completely complex. And, you know, once you start coding in Python, there's no coming back. You don't want to code in any other language. And that has been like the case with me. So after that, after 20 minutes, I got to know that, you know, I made it to the round 2. And round 2 was a managerial interview, right? So, and luckily, you won't believe, but I got into the same team. So the one who took my technical interview is my colleague now, and the one who took my managerial interview is my manager now. So that was really a good, you know, thing. So my manager, right, he came on the call, and we had a very good introduction, all of those things. And then he gave me just 2 questions. He said that, Anika, I'm not going to discuss any technical bit with you because you have already cleared that round. I'll discuss only the, you know, business point. Okay, business ideas. Okay, fine. So he just asked me 2 questions. And those 2 questions I still remember. One was, he said that if you want, just write a simple code to, what was that? To reverse 2 numbers, okay? Without using third variable, reverse the 2 numbers, okay? And that is something every BTech computer science engineer would know.
Yes.
So it was on my tips. So, and he didn't ask me to write any code or something. He just said, give me the logic. So I gave it, I took good 5 minutes because I wanted to be very sure of what I'm saying, right? I didn't want it to sound, you know, vague. And I took my 5 minutes and then I gave him the answer. Then the next question he asked was a very simple puzzle, which you'll read everywhere. It's like, it's a cake. You have to cut it in 8 parts with 3 cuts. It's a very common question. And he asked me that. And then again, I knew the answer, but I again took 5 minutes just because I wanted to be sure of what I'm saying. I just wanted to be very sure because I didn't want it to lose at this point of time. Because last time when I, you know, got rejected was the managerial round. So I wanted to be very, very, you know, clear and very specific to my answers. So yeah, and after, you know, around 1 or 2 hours, I got to know that. And again, he discussed few things, you know, general things about my family and how normal interviews go, right? I'll talk about it in detail. So I'm just giving the overall experience of my interview. And then after and then I didn't hear for next 2 hours. Okay. So next 2 hours, I was just sitting. I was not sure what's going to happen next. Am I going to get in or not? Next 2 hours, all of a sudden, I gave up all the hopes. And I went to my hostel and I was just lying down. And the HR called me, Anika, join us for the round 3. I said, okay. And then, okay, now this one is interesting. So I got on the call and I see my manager again. And then there is one more person. Okay. So I don't know who that person is. I just see that there's one person from US. So he started asking me a few questions, the one from the US. So I just gave answer because this is something I'm very confident about. I had been very confident about, and I'm good with answers, questions and answers. So he kept on asking me and I kept on giving him answers. So it was a very, very nice interview. And then after this got over, I again went into the zone that I'm not going to get another call because my HR interview was still pending. So it's like, I'm not going to get another call now. It's done. And then around 7 or 8 p.m. in the evening, I got a mail that, Anika, let's join for HR interview, quick HR interview. I said, okay. So you won't believe, but my HR interview lasted for 5 minutes. And that was, and we got on call and he was like, Anika, do you want to discuss something with me? And I was like, what should I say? So I just, I had no idea about the CTC, okay, at that point of time, that what CTC are they going to offer? So I just asked this question, okay, what CTC are you guys going to pay me? And then after that, he told me the answer. And then he said, Anika, I don't want to, you know, waste my time on a candidate like you because you've already cleared all the rounds and you're very much good to go. You're almost in. So I'll go and take interviews for the ones who are, you know, who requires me. You are already in. I said, okay. And then, but still I was not confirmed because a mail is required, right? A confirmation is required. So around 10 p.m. at the night, I got the mail that I got in. So this was my journey of interviews that went by.
So there are total, I think, 4 to 5 rounds of the interview.
Yes, definitely. So if you go for a software engineer role, right, in Dell, so since my interview, my process was a bit different. I did not have that written round because I already cleared all those rounds in my previous interviews, right? The pre-sales role one. So I did not had that, written round, but I suppose that for software engineer role, you need to clear the written round, which contains some basic questions and some, I think, 1 or 2 coding questions. So once you clear that, you get into the technical round. So in technical round, see, interview is something which is going to be different for all of us. For me, it would be a different experience. For you, it would be a different experience. For somebody else, it would be a different experience, right? So I cannot tell you, or neither you can tell me that, okay, this is how your interview will go, because it completely depends on the candidate in which direction he or she takes the interview, right? If you ask me what my name is, I'll end up saying, hi, my name is Anika Srivastav, and that would be the end. If I'm not interactive enough, my interview won't last long, right? So rule number 1 for any interview, in my suggestion, you have to be very much interactive. You have to, decide that in which direction you want your interview to go. If you don't decide that, it is going to be monotonous and it's going to end and you're not going to get in. So that's very important to, understand and make sure that, where to take the interview. If you say that I talk about, if, for example, I code in Python, right? And maybe my interviewer is not comfortable with Python because he might be a good Java coder, but not a Python coder. That exactly happened with me. The one who took my interview didn't have much idea about Python because he was a hardcore .NET and Java developer. So he told me this thing that, see, Anika, I'm not very much good with Python, but Python was my forte. I always coded in Python. So, but then we tried finding one commonality between both of us, and that was databases. Databases is something irrespective of any language, you have to deal with it, right? Even if you're coding with Python, you're coding in .NET, you're coding in any language. Database is something that is going to be there. So it's very important, right? Now, for example, if I had I just said that, okay, I code in Python, and he said I code in Java, our interview would have ended there and then, because we didn't have any common points. So immediately it clicked that, okay, if he codes in .NET, he must be versed with databases. So, and databases was my positive point as well. So we decided quickly on databases, and he asked me few questions on databases, basic questions, not of high level. That I remember it was something on some queries he asked me to write, very basic. One was to find the list of employees whose name end with say A or R or some alphabet. Okay, and one was, I think, to find the, so he just gave me this database of employees. I mean, he just asked me that, for imagine there's a database of employees, we have these many rows, so you have to just fetch me these answers. I said, okay. So he gave me 4-5 queries and I was able to crack them up. So it's very important to understand, right, what is going to be our center of center of attraction for the interview. If you don't get that, then there would be a problem. So I believe it's very important to understand your interview. That's very, very important.
So I would like to ask one more question, like, how did you improve your coding?
See, okay, let me be very honest with you. So when I was in college, right, I was in first year, so it just goes by. You don't, it takes 1 year to realize that you're doing engineering, right? And it just goes by. And then once you enter in your second year, right? So in second year, things don't go planned. If somebody comes and tells you, okay, you know what, Manoj, if I tell you, Manoj, you know what, you should learn Python because it's very trending. You'll be like, okay, cool. Somebody else comes and says, no, Python is not good. You know what, you should start coding in Java. You'll be like, oh, is it? Then you'll start coding in Java. So once you're in college, right, you don't have that any fixed mindset because you don't know what Python is, what Java is, right? You just know that these are programming languages. So for me, it was the same situation. I was in my second year. One of my seniors came and told me that, Anika, you know what, you should learn Python. It's trending. I said, okay. So I just randomly started learning about Python on web, on Google. Okay, what is Python? What do we do in Python? And from there I started developing my interest in that. And then by the end of second year, I thought of doing some training in Python, some professional training, because learning on Google and doing a training are two different things, right? So me along with my friend, we went to IIT Kanpur for a summer training. We were there for good 2 months and we learned a lot of things. We actually did a training in machine learning, which was a very bad decision to make. By the end of second year, you think that you can be a machine learner, you can be good at machine learning. It's impossible unless you had that idea from first year, right? So I just did my training in machine learning. I did 2 projects then. And then when I came back to college, I was in third year by then, right? So in third year, I was sure that, okay, this is something I want my career to grow in. So I continued my machine learning and Python coding. I just randomly used to go on web, search questions, and then I started off with HackerRank. And so by the end of third year, right, you start getting that placement ka pressure, right? So that prompted me to HackerRank. I started coding on HackerRank. But then, you know what I realized? You go on HackerRank, right? You see question. And then after 5 minutes, you'll be like, let's switch to the other tab. The other tab is the discussion tab, where you'll easily find the solution to that question. And then you just do Control C and Control V. And then the test cases are passed, and you feel like out of the world, and you feel like, okay, I did it. But what I realized is to crack any interview, it's important to get very versed with your basics. Don't try to do questions which you can't, which is out of your level. Be in that. First, you need to clear your basics. Once your basics are clear, you can do anything. For example, if you're a knave, right, and you just go and search for questions on trees and graphs, you will just end up to the discussion panel, Control C, Control V. Because if you don't know what tree and graph is, how are you going to code it, right? You can't. So you should start with basics. Or any, doesn't matter if you're in final year or in your first year. If you're just starting to code, you need to start with basics. Don't just jump onto the advanced questions and feel proud of it after you do this Control C and Control V. No, you should always start with basics. Make sure that your basics are clear enough to jump onto the next step, right? Once your basics are clear, you're good to go with the advanced questions. Then I think you can do anything. And irrespective of what language you code, it's very important to be very well versed with the with the structure, the internal structure of the question, right? If you don't understand that, then it's a waste of time. So it's very important to understand the basics. That's what I feel. And coding is something you cannot learn, right? Coding you can't learn. You have to practice.
Yes.
Practice every day. Nobody can come and this is what I feel. Nobody can come and teach you coding until and unless you don't understand, and that comes from within, right? Okay, this is how it is going to be. Because the way I write code, your way of writing code would be completely opposite of mine, right?
Yeah,
maybe our results would be same, maybe the efficiency would be same, but the way I write codes would be different, and the way you write code would be different. So I think this is something you can't teach me and I can't teach you. It is something you should understand the internal structure and then code how the way you feel like, right? So that's what I feel.
Okay. So one more question. Apart from the coding, what topic or what subject the fresher or student should focus upon?
Okay. So one thing I would definitely recommend is DSA. Not too much of DSA, but data structures, algorithms are very important. If you don't know that, bad luck, man. You should know it. Then the next is databases. It's extremely important to know databases, because once you get into the real world, right? Once you get into the company and you get those big things, right? You get those databases and you see others fetching the queries and doing all of those things, and you start feeling, okay, I don't understand this. So it's very important to focus on databases. And third thing is any programming language. Okay. It's very important to, learn any programming language. May it be anything. If you're good with C, C++, Java, Python, .NET, anything, but you should know at least one programming language, all the concepts of that programming language. And the other bit I feel, apart from this technical things, right, what one should have possessed before sitting for an interview is positivity. It's very important, and you should be ready to take the repercussions on you. Maybe your interview won't go well, or maybe there must be there can come a time where you don't where you feel that, okay, what went wrong? Because from your side nothing went wrong, but maybe from the interview side something went wrong. So you waste your next 15 days thinking on what went wrong to my last interview. It's good to introspect to find out what went wrong, but do not waste a lot of time if you get rejected. You should learn to move on. That's what I did. And trust me, had I not been rejected to the previous round, I wouldn't have made it till here. So rejections are very important, and it's completely okay to get rejected. If you get rejected, it's a brownie thing, right? You can actually introspect and find out that where do I need to improve. So it's completely fine. And you have to be very much optimistic while you sit for an interview. That's what I do. That's what I have done in my past interviews. So that would be my one advice. I just want to say that, what, interviews are not as hard as we think. I have never, had the face-to-face interview up till now. I had all my virtual interviews. And for virtual interviews, things get difficult a little bit. You know why it gets difficult? Because sometimes the interviewer won't switch on the camera. So you can't read the face expression. for any answer you give, you just can't read that, okay, what interview must be thinking about me? Did I give the wrong answer? Did I give it right? So this is, where the virtual interviews fail. But again, you have to think that I'll make it, I'll crack it, irrespective of anything, I'll do it. And trust me, these interviewers, they're very good.
Thanks everyone for watching this video. And if you like this video, so to like this video and subscribe this channel, and also most importantly, share with the friends. This video may help many people to clear the interview round, and hope so this video will help you. Okay, thank you.
And any one of you can connect with me on LinkedIn if I can help in any way. Yeah.
Yes, so in the Anika's LinkedIn profile, I will put in the video description. So